Okay. Alrighty. Well, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a different. This is going to be a departure. Going to be a little bit different video because I am trying to do more of a vlog style video for this little homily here. So, I'm going to get a little bit of my favorite coffee here, which is butterscotch toffee. I've been drinking my chocolate raspberry coffee for the last, since Easter began, and so now we're getting into the 11th Sunday in ordinary time. And so I thought what I'd do is just make a quick, oops, this is not going to work out very well, folks, because I am going to have to do a quick emergency thing here because I do pour overs. And so there we go. So, okay, so that's working. And I'm going to go back here. Okay, so I'm using this little DJI Flip 2 phone as I make this very special. It's not really a special video. Let's just be honest. It's not special at all. No. So, again, I've shown you a little bit of my humble abode here. That's recentered. There we go. You call this the great room here. This is where I do all of my piano concertos from. Yeah, right. And actually, this is where I do most of my video editing from. This is my new little workstation. Okay, is that on? That's on? Okay, a little bit of light there. And this is basically where I do my video editing on my mighty iMac Pro. And a lot of what I'm going to talk a little bit today about is just kind of I guess you would call it I would call it, some people might call it the art of making YouTube videos. I'm going to call it the frustration of such. Okay, let me see how the coffee is doing here. Okay, there's the old coffee there. Okay, gonna scooch you over there, the cup there. Okay, good. And let's see what we got here. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that looks wonderful. Okay, great. Okay, so all right. Let's see if we can do this. Kind of getting the hang of the flip part of this little DJI Pocket 2 camera. And so I'll show you also. Let me go up here. Okay, there we go. We're going to go over here now. And we're going to go outside for a little bit. And I'm going to show you the... now it's probably looking for yours truly. The little camera is. And so I don't know how this is all going to work out here. With this little camera. It's almost like a little animal, the way it's working here. Okay, so we have our new outdoor, if I can get this to focus now. If I can get this to focus. Will you focus at all? Will you focus at all? I tell you what, this is very incredible. This little thing here. Let's see, can I do a little... I don't even know if you're even seeing this. I got to put my glasses on. I'm looking at the little meter. And okay, so it's mostly looking up at the trees, which is good because our first reading is talking about the trees. But here we see the altar that we have. Some dear parishioners have spent so much time putting this altar together. Just last week they brought the stone, the altar stone, as you can see right there. So it's wonderful. It's just awesome. So we're going to be having our kind of like our forest chapel here. The chairs will be set up wherever people want to sit. And so we'll be consecrating this altar hopefully in about another day or two. So anyway, okay, so that's the altar. Okay, now it's going to be looking for my ugly mug, and there it is. So I'm basically making this video in this format, in this style today, because sometimes I got to be honest. Like writers get writer's block. Well, I have to tell you, I get kind of in my older years now. I've been doing my YouTube homily videos now for about over about 12 years now. Well, has it been 12 years? Almost 13 years now. I started in 2008, and as many of you know, it was kind of after reading Mother Angelica's book and having some interesting problems in the prison, where I was a prison chaplain trying to, minister to inmates when they're locked down. And it was just such a real struggle. And it kind of dawned on me that the inmates all had their little plastic inmate TVs, and they could watch whatever the prison closed circuit TV played for them. And so it dawned on me that if I got a little creative and spent some time learning this craft called vlogging or video editing, I might be able to reach the ones that never even come to the chapel. So that's basically what I learned. This is how this all this started. Okay, so it was actually a genuine desire. I'm going to lock this door here. Hold on a second. Yeah, it was actually motivated by a genuine desire to minister to people that I probably wouldn't otherwise be able to minister to. So anyway, so I got into learning things like Final Cut Pro, and that's been kind of almost a 10-year revelation, or a 10-year journey at least. Over 10 years now, because I started in 2008. Actually, I started in 2007, so it actually even goes back. I kind of start all this around 2008 because that's when I started my YouTube channel, but I actually started the video productions of masses and videos and homilies in 2007 on an old Windows machine. And then about a year later, I got my very first Mac. So then everything kind of started from there after getting my first copy of Final Cut Pro and then moving on from there. So, it's kind of interesting because there's a couple of YouTubers that, I like watching lots of different YouTubers, and there's lots of really professional ones out there that I watch on a regular basis. And some of them are way younger than me, and some of them are about my age. But I'm on the other. I'm kind of on the far right of the scale when it comes to age. A lot of the YouTubers are probably, most of them I would say are younger people, looking to gain a following on YouTube, and make revenue from that, make a living doing that. And I have nothing against them. I salute them, and I'd say God bless you. If you're doing good creative content that is truly helpful, that's great. So I have no problem with that. But there's a couple of those YouTubers out there, one in particular that I kind of have connected with, and although I haven't actually met this person in real life, they're just I have to say they're probably they're a real class. I don't know what it is about them, but I really connect with this person. His name is Matthew Midland Films, or Midland Pictures. And he is a documentarist, I guess. He's a real filmographer, but he also has a YouTube channel. He has great content when it comes to learning Final Cut Pro and all the cool little secrets. There were a couple little secrets that I learned from his videos, and I just really liked it. But apart from that, the thing that I like about his videos, and maybe I'll put a link in there, just if you're curious. It's not a religious channel by any means, although he seems to be a decent guy. I'll just say that. He seems like he's a family man, and he's just really trying to do a lot of good things for his family, in addition to running a YouTube channel and also running a film company. So just my hat's off to him. Matthew, I don't think he'll ever watch my videos, but he has actually, every time I've commented something of comment, something that I think is has a constructive comment there, he's always been very gracious, and he will always comment, maybe not always, but I'd say 90% of the time, he'll always come back and say, "Hey, thanks for watching. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I've had these issues in my life, or whatever, or I've same kind of struggles, or yeah, whatever." And I've always appreciated that about his channel. Now, once he gets to a certain subscribership, he probably won't be able to do that anymore. But again, I always appreciate it when a content creator will take time to answer a question, or at least say thank you for a comment, or at least acknowledge the comment. And I really appreciate that. And so anyway, it was interesting because the last few days, well, actually, to be honest, I got to get a cup of coffee here. My butterscotch toffee. Yeah, it's good. But one of the things that in the last, I'd probably have to say maybe the last year, I've kind of, I wouldn't say I've been struggling. That's, again, one of the things that I don't like to do is engage in internet or YouTube drama. I'm just not really a big drama person. But again, there comes a point in a person that loves creative things and they like to be creative, where you kind of, again, I don't know if you call it writer's block or creator's block or what have you, but there comes a point where you kind of question, why am I doing this? Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy the creative process, and again, I know some of you are going, what kind of video is this? I came to watch a homily about the 11th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and it's coming. But again, it's a bit of a departure, and I think it's okay to every now and then kind of take a step back behind the camera, so to speak, and just kind of talk about what's going on, because normally I just I get the beautiful backdrop and I put up some really fun little videos from time to time. Maybe the content isn't that great, the scripts. Okay, first of all, I don't write a script. A lot of YouTubers that are really, really, I think, really good, they write excellent scripts, and they keep everything to a certain time limit, and they're very, very polished. And I'm always kind of experimenting a little bit here and there. Maybe I try a new plugin that I think might have an interesting little tie-in to a theme I'm talking about in the readings or my homily or whatever. And so sometimes I play around with things. But that being said, there's a lot of time involvement. And yes, I am, I have to say, and I'm happy to say, I am a busy pastor. And I like being a busy pastor. I wouldn't want to be anything else. But sometimes, like in the last couple of weeks, we've just been having so many different liturgies. We've had confirmation. Of course, we just got through Holy Week, and then we're going through the great solemnities, of Pentecost, Holy Trinity, and then this Sunday is Corpus. Well, this Sunday is Corpus Christi. Now, I'm making this video a week in advance. I try to make some of these videos a couple weeks in advance to give me some time so I don't ever get behind the 8 ball, because when I get behind the 8 ball, then it's almost, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's a real stretch to make these. So I give myself about a week and a half leeway to kind of work on a video at a time. So even though you're watching last week's video, I'm already working on the next week's video, or maybe even 2 weeks in advance. So if I really have a lot of energy and I'm feeling good and I got some good creative ideas, then usually I can even have maybe 2-3 weeks in advance, so I'm not, totally under the gun. Now this summer, we're going to add 2 more masses, and plus we're going to be starting this new kind of outdoor mass. We did it last year, and it was very, very, people really enjoyed it. Being out in God's beautiful creation, people just love it. So I think it's something, even though COVID brought kind of a problem, we solved it with something that actually might really be a lot nicer for summertime venues. So anyway, we're still going to have an indoor venue, of course, and then we'll have the outdoor venue. So there'll be a little bit of variety And I think sometimes people really appreciate the variety. So if they're feeling like they want to be out in God's, that we call it the Forest Chapel, then they can come for that. If they want to be indoors, and of course we have a lovely little jewel box of a church, they can be in that as well. So, but the last year or so, I've kind of gotten to a point where I've kind of said, I don't have anything brand new to I mean, Christianity is Christianity, okay? And now there are some people, and part of my videos are about people who, yes, do want to change Christianity. They're bored with the old versions of Christianity. They think they're outdated. They don't work. They're obsolete. They're arcane. They're outdated. All these things, and they need to be changed. We need to get away from all the traditional things and do something different and new. Well, I believe that the gospel is different and new, especially if you think about it in today's society. That we really, we're struggling to share the gospel, the authentic gospel with people, because they have itching ears. So let me just finish my other train of thought, and I know I'm not very good at staying on focus, but again, let me just go back to my friend Matthew. And just talk about, the reason why I'm making this video, because I think people might want to go, why are you doing this completely different format when I'm used to you just getting up there and putting up the gospel and giving a reflection and moving on. And I apologize that this may not be a format that you appreciate. And again, I'm just kind of, like I said, sometimes it's good to take a break from the routine and maybe do something just a little bit out of the ordinary. So this guy from Midland Pictures or Midland Films, I saw a video that he did a couple of days ago, and it's almost, now I'm not saying it's exactly 100%, frame for frame what he's doing, but it inspired me to take this approach this week and just say, hey, sometimes you got to ask yourself, where are you going? What's the end result? What's the purpose? And like I said, there are other YouTubers out there, Catholic Padres, that they've got better content. Just be upfront and say that. They're younger, they're handsome, they're better looking. They're easy to look at. Well, I'll just say that. I think some people really like some of these guys. They look very, very dashing, and they're very, they're handsome. They're nice looking guys. They're younger guys. Sometimes people like to see, younger people, because it gives them hope that the younger generation is picking up our faith and it's bringing it forward. And that's all wonderful and that's all good. So again, there's a point where it says, well, there are other people that do it far better than you, so maybe you don't need to do it anymore, and that's true. It's something I have to kind of take a good long look at. This gentleman from Matthew from Midland Pictures, he said one phrase. He said, when he's creating his videos, he wants the content to be compelling and transcendent. Well, something that's going to withstand the test of time. Well, and that's great. And he has content that probably can do that. But for the most part, I think a lot of YouTubers, myself included, we just kind of share who we are and where we're at. And a few people find that helpful, great. But as far as really making something that's going to be, preserved for posterity, and, I think it's a little bit, I think you have to give yourself an ego check and say, well, I don't think that's really going to happen, okay? I'm just an old guy who gets on here week after week, and I share a few reflections. And sometimes I think a few people respond, and they're grateful, or maybe they're challenged. That might be fine too. Maybe a little bit of both. But I do the best I can with what I have. For example, I have. This is kind of funny here. Let me go in here, see if I can. Okay, there we go. I enjoy buying a lot of video editing products, And you can see here, I have a drone that a young man sold me about a year and a half ago. And I use my little DJI Mini 2, which is great. But I remember getting this more professional drone here. And this young guy at Best Buy about a year and a half ago, he was so keen to sell me something. And I had to give him a chance. You know, I said, well, okay, you know, do you tell me about this drone and maybe I'll buy it. I said, I just came in to buy propellers for my old one, but maybe if you wanna try and, you know, tell me about this drone, maybe I'll listen to you. Well, again, I part of me was a little bit I was impressed with this young person who really wanted. I mean, okay, most people don't like salesmen, just like they don't like politicians or priests. But the good salesmen, the good salespeople, again, you can appreciate it's a craft. In some ways, it's a little bit of an art form, and so even though I wasn't in the mood to buy a drone, or I wasn't really in need to buy a drone, well, actually, I take that back. I'm glad I did get this drone. But I let the young man speak. He was like 18, 19 years old. And this kid was awesome. He gave me the spiel. You know, it wasn't just like he had something kind of like a script that he had memorized. He really knew the product. And I always appreciate somebody that understands the finer details of a product, especially if you are trying to say, okay, what about this element? You know, so I have to say the young man sold me and I bought it. Now, you're saying, but that was a year and a half ago and you haven't even opened it yet. Well, that's right, I haven't. And there are a couple other products there you probably saw too that I haven't opened yet. And that gets me back to this whole talk about, you know, the channel and where it's going. You know, believe it or not, a lot of these products, whether it's hardware, like you saw there with the drone and the gimbal, or software, it takes a lot of time. You know, it's not just something you open up, you know, it's like you point and shoot, or, you know, it's not like an Instamatic thing where you just open the box and you just start using it. There's a level of knowledge that you have to understand before you can really make these things work. And although I love taking the time and learning, there are times that I realize, okay, if I open that box for that drone, and eventually I will, it's going to require probably about 5 or 6 hours setting that up. 5 or 6 hours setting that up. And sometimes I know that when I do this, I'm going to be interrupted. I'm going to have problems that I didn't foresee. Maybe it's a little cable that I didn't buy that I need to now have this cable in order to charge something. I might need some other adapter. I might need some other accessory that I just didn't know I needed at the time, all right, to make it all come together. And that's just life. And so the thing is that I realize that it's a time investment. So it's also, it's money, but it's also time investment. That's the biggest investment. And again, as a priest, as a pastor, sometimes you're really kind of spreading yourself pretty thin when you're trying to do a lot of these creative things at the same time, being available to your parishioners and getting a lot of the parish work that needs to be done as well. So anyway, so today, the readings, I think are the things that I would say. Again, the one thing, let me use this as a little segue, a springboard into my actual 11th Sunday homily. And essentially, I like that first reading because it talks about these, God's holy mountain, basically, and these the majestic trees and the plantings of righteousness. I think that the first reading talks an awful lot about, and living up here at Lake Tahoe with all the beautiful forests and the lakes and the river, it takes your breath away. It's a beautiful place to live. And I think God has planted in our hearts and our souls this thing about beauty, to recognize things that are truly beautiful, that inspire us, that again kind of raise our hearts and our minds to something more greater than ourselves. They help us to put our focus back onto God, the Creator. So but yet God provides a place. He wants to take this sapling or this little branch or whatever off this majestic tree, and he wants to plant it, and he wants it to be a place where the people of God can gather and to worship Him. And so when I think about that and what my friend Matthew said about being transcendent, I said, well, I don't know about how transcendent these videos are or the video messages are, but all of us have expiration dates, and the only thing that we can do to be truly, truly transcendent is when we focus again on God, and sometimes, especially in our day and age, that's kind of challenging, because there's a very angry secular world out there that kind of would like to stifle the Christian message, whether and they don't want to hear the things that we believe that are sacred, things like life, marriage, and the family, the church. They want to destroy all that. They want to tear it down. And I dare say in some ways they have done that. They have been successful to some extent. They haven't been able to put all of us in concentration camps and make us wear little yellow crosses yet on our clothes, but maybe those days are coming. And again, I don't like to be a person that is negative, but I also don't want to be a person that's Pollyannish. I want to be a realist. So again, because why? Well, the bottom line, what really is transcendent, that we all must probably take a little bit of a sober breath and realize, well, there is going to be a final judgment. There's going to be a final judgment. You and I, we're all going to have to give an account of our lives. And that should kind of, talk about being woke, being awoke and kind of being, wow, that's I need to pay attention to that. We all need to pay attention to that. And Jesus talked in parables. Jesus was a great, when I say storyteller, I have to be careful, because nowadays people kind of look upon the Gospels. When I say story, they kind of say, well, it's not factual truth, it's just a story, and they try to de-emphasize, or they try to dismantle the miracles of Jesus, his teachings. Well, Jesus didn't really mean that, or Jesus didn't mean that when he said it, or that was only put into, I remember in my seminary days, they would say things like, well, the early Christian writers put that in the mouth of Jesus, but he probably never said that. What? Those kinds of things really are very upsetting, okay? And unfortunately, there are just a lot of Christians, and again, I won't beat a dead horse, but where I've been at and have shared with you before many, many times, that the problem, I think, in the church today is that too many people want to deconstruct and put in a new replacement for the authentic gospel. That being said, so again, when I try to look at, what is truly transcendent in the light of the things that I do, whether it's on this YouTube channel or in my parish or with my friends, I realize that, we only have so much time, and eventually that time will be gone. And, I watch a lot of old Westerns and a lot of the older movies, and I just have to tell you that, most of these beloved TV stars of yesteryear, they're all gone. They're all gone. And it makes you feel kind of sad, because you go, wow, I remember, being alive at the same time that many of these old Hollywood stars were, John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart and William Holden and, Alec Guinness, again, just, again, a wonderful, legacy that I hopefully people will people still be watching those movies 100 years from now? Possibly, but who knows? Who knows what's going to be 100 years from now? So, But anyway, I guess again the message for the 11th Sunday of ordinary time is just kind of simply this: is that we're all going to have to stand and at the final judgment. As one person I heard say not too long ago, do you think the final judgment's going to be a picnic? I like that. Do you think the final judgment's going to be a picnic? Well, it can be. It doesn't. We don't have to be afraid of the final judgment if we are working out our salvation today with fear and trembling. Okay, if we really are striving to know and love the Lord, and I think that's the key right there. Striving to know and love the Lord with all our heart, mind, body, and soul, then yes, we don't need to be afraid of the final judgment. Okay, but it will happen. And, I'd rather be going to God and saying with a humble heart, saying, Lord, yes, I did these bad things at one time in my life, but now with the rest of my life, I have tried to reorientate that life and dedicate it to you the best that I can. So thank you for taking the time out to watch this different kind of video today, and I appreciate your time. And if you'd like to leave me a comment, I will try to respond. I mean, sometimes if you just say, hey, I like what you said, or, sometimes people say, amen, Father, preach it, I'll certainly give you a little heart sticker, and I'll give you a little thumbs up, and I'll appreciate that. But if you have a question, I'll try to the best of my ability to answer it, okay? So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down. The only thing I ask is if you don't like the videos and you have a problem, at least you don't have to go into a big dissertation to say, I don't agree with you on this issue, or I think you're wrong, and here's why you're wrong, whatever. That's fine too. Sometimes I will be glad to entertain those kinds of comments, and I'll try to, if I can, resolve them to your satisfaction. You may not, again, appreciate my perspective, and you may not agree, but at least I believe that we can still be civil and still say, well, I agree to disagree at the end, okay? All right, thank you so much for watching, and God bless you today and every day. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen.